Hi folks, Dr. Nick here, leader in nutrition, founder of the NutriFit program, author, speaker and marketing manager for a range of high quality nutritionals. And welcome to this short webinar on the NutriFit 5 eating strategies, which really are the basis of the systemized way of eating called the NutriFit program that I personally developed. So before we get into the strategies, let's have a look at the key components of mastering your nutrition and becoming a higher performer in the area of food. Firstly, you've got to have the right attitude. You've got to adjust that internal environment so that you really do believe that the results you're after are possible. In fact, if you actually imagine that you've already achieved the results you're after, then it is only a matter of time until that will happen out in the external world, that you'll actually manifest that result. And so there's a whole lot we could go into there, but we'll keep it very brief today. So you really need a certain mindset. Now, secondly, you need a method-based approach, and that's what we're going to be talking about mainly in this webinar, the strategies. How do you actually carve your way through the hype and misinformation out there and create the pathway that's going to get you to where you need to be? You've got to have those results, which we just talked about. You really need to be really clear on what it is you're after, and you need a plan. And you might have seen in the webinar the fundamental nutrition principles that it's really about thinking, hey, am I exercising today or am I not? And what am I going to do to work my nutrition around the day that I've got ahead? So just to recap there, that mastering your nutrition is 80% psychology. That's the importance of the mindset and the attitude, and it's 20% how you eat. So let's look at the mechanics of eating. How do you actually start to really get traction in this area and get off the roller coaster and finally get those results you've been after? Well, the NutriFit program can offer a whole range of benefits, and let's have a quick look. It's an easy, systemized way of eating. You eat frequently, you never feel hungry, you eat foods that are readily available, you don't have to do anything too decadent, it's not anything that's out of the ordinary. There's flexibility, there's additional nutrient support, so you can really have optimal cellular health. You definitely are going to achieve the results, so it's very results focused, and importantly, it's sustainable. Because let's face it, most programs out there just offer really short-term results, but this is something you can do for life. And here's a nice sort of way of summarizing things before we really dive into the strategies: that mastering your nutrition is consistently applying simple eating strategies over a sustained period of time. And if you look at the other side of that those who fail to achieve their results are really applying the consistent application of small errors of judgment over a prolonged period of time. Like, the odd sort of biscuit if it's done every night, or the odd bit of chocolate coming in, frequently over time leads to you to going off track and not really getting where you need to be. So let's start with these strategies. And number one is a timing strategy, and that really aligns up with the three themes of nutrition, which are timing, type, and amount. And we covered that in the Fundamental Nutrition Principles webinar. And so this is, if we eat regularly every 3 hours, what we start to experience is more control over our hunger. We prevent overeating, we stabilize our blood sugar. We really then actually have more control over how much we eat. So we have a greater ability to regulate our energy balance and thus our weight control, and make more progress towards the body composition we're after. And so most New Zealanders are eating 3 times a day, and I'm advocating here that you need to eat ideally 5 times, possibly for some who are very active, up to 6 times a day, but say a minimum around 4 times a day to really start making progress. Number 2 is also a timing strategy. And it says eat foods high in carbohydrate and sugar, mainly after exercise. And I know that might sound, sort of kind of counterintuitive or an opposite of what we're hearing a lot. The sugar aspect, we certainly need to be aware of how much sugar we eat. But if we have things like, say, muesli with some extra sugar, or even a muesli bar after exercise, it's a far more effective time to eat that food, rather than at a time when we haven't been active and our muscles are not needing that replenishment. So we need to shift the carbohydrate foods that we eat to the post-exercise period. And if we do this, we can increase our energy and improve our muscle recovery, and importantly, make great inroads into body fat reduction. So we can see here in the diagram that if you exercise, say, in the morning, and the hours following, up to about 3 hours, it's what we call the acute recovery period, and that's covered in the Active Nutrition webinar, where you have where it's best advised to have your high carb foods, and after that you lower your carbohydrate down. So the high carb foods are things like oats and breads, breakfast cereals, certainly the things like biscuits and cakes, and even things like crackers. Although eating some of those foods, and even rice and pasta and bread, and potatoes, is possible when you haven't been active. However, we just need to be careful of how much. So this is a strategy now that allows us to really adjust our carbohydrate. It's a carbohydrate adjustment strategy, and thus you give your body the replenishment it needs. It starts to utilize those carbohydrate foods more effectively. You don't get the body fat storage, which happens with an excess of carbohydrate, and so everything starts to work. And then there are some carbohydrate in the low category. Most fruits and vegetables you can consume at any time, which is super. Just be mindful of fruits like bananas, grapes, cherries, pineapple, mango, and dried fruit, which have a lot of extra sugar, and they are best post-exercise. Okay, and some vegetables like kumara, corn, potatoes, they are best also post-exercise, or if you're having them just in smaller amounts, if you haven't been active, to ensure that you have the body comp you're after. Now, the third strategy is the type in the three themes of nutrition. Okay, so we have to be thinking about the type of food, and that is complete protein, vegetables, and/or fruit with every meal. Now, it's quite a lot going on there. Let's look firstly at the protein. And complete protein is anything from animal sources or soy from the plant world. And this is really critical every time we eat for a whole host of things. And by the way, this is not a high protein type of regime. This is definitely not any sort of Atkins or Zone or any of those types of really high protein, low carb approaches. This is just advocating some protein to ensure that you get the body composition you're after, you stabilize your energy levels, and you can also help improve energy expenditure associated with digestion. You can improve recovery through extra amino acids, and importantly, the feeling of fullness. So that's that satiation we talked about with the frequency of eating. So if you're having protein with every meal frequently throughout the day, you really never feel hungry. And your body also regulates how much you eat a lot more effectively. So it really really reduces the issues around overeating, and certainly also I find that I get feedback on that the sugar cravings start to be dampened when you've got protein with every meal, and that's a big thing. The second aspect is veggies and or fruit. Now, of course, we know how good veggies are. We've heard this so often, and the science confirms it. There's things like phytochemicals. These are special substances that really give us an anti-inflammatory effect. They're the ones that give fruit and veggies their colour and their flavour, and they're really important. We also get them in things like teas, like green tea I mentioned coming up. Fibre is another really important reason, and of course vitamins and minerals. And fruits and veggies are also alkaline, alkalizing, so they help to balance your pH. They also contain, especially green leafy veggies, lots of nitrates that help regulate blood pressure. And there's the list goes on. There's so many good things that vegetables or plant-based food do. So we need plants essentially every time we eat, for sure. That's a key aspect. Now, the fourth strategy is around fats, and we need to consume not only the right amount of fats, but the right type. This is really critical. So it's the right type of fats every day. You've probably heard of things like saturated versus unsaturated fats, and we need to keep that in check. If you're a woman, up to 50 grams, men 60, and if you're really active and you're growing, you can push it up near 100. But what you want to focus on is more around these long chain, highly unsaturated fats called omega-3 fatty acids, and these are found in foods like fish and walnuts and flaxseed, linseed. But the problem is that we simply don't get enough from our food to meet the needs every day. These are essential. We need them daily. And so this really requires additional fish oil intake in the form of a supplement. I highly recommend a high-quality fish oil supplement. I personally use what's called Biomega, and it provides around just over 1.2 grams per day. Anything up to 2 grams is for healthy individuals recommended. And if you've got an inflammatory condition like diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, arthritis, anything like that, then up to 3 grams is very safe. And for children also, young boys, I have 2 young boys, 6 and 8, and they have their what's called their Biomega Junior daily for helping their cognitive function, and growth. And fish oil has so many benefits for also asthma, that young children do suffer a lot from that. A lot say their skin improved, hair, nails, and here's a study saying that in a group of Norwegian men, that premature death was reduced by 47%. So that's fairly significant. Lastly, now strategy 5. This is really again, mostly around the type of food, and this is we're actually focusing on fluids. And we really want to drink calorie-free fluids whenever possible. Well, another way of saying it is we want to eat our food rather than drink it. So many New Zealanders. In fact, here's a quick stat that on average, New Zealanders have 25% of their energy intake daily from fluids. Mainly from things like fruit juice and soft drink and alcoholic beverages. So we really want to. It's certainly not saying don't drink, but we need to. If we're drinking, let's go for water, green tea. Coffee's okay, but just 1 cup, 2 at the most. And you can drink. I have about 4 to 5 cups of green tea a day, and that's perfectly fine. It's the sugary beverages that are causing a lot of health issues today. You can overload your energy intake very quickly, and particularly for children. We're seeing so many issues, dental health, and things like diabetes and heart disease occurring in children as young as 10, 12 years of age. So how do you really ensure that these strategies working for you? You need to plan ahead and prepare for in advance. It's fundamental to plan with nutrition. It's such a key concept. And you've got to practice 90% of the time. So here's the flexibility. Okay, so you don't have to be 100% on board. The difference between 90% and 100% for results is negligible. So if you're looking at, say, 6 meals a day over 7 days, you've got about 42 meals, of which 38 ideally are on track, giving you 4 to be flexible on. You can have your favorite food, you can enjoy something off track, but just make sure you get back on straight away. I have a tracking sheet. I won't go into it now, but it's part of the program that I use, and it's an easy way using a simple ticking system that you can keep your track of that progress. And here's just a quick overview of what you can do with your food. For breakfast, options around the protein with the eggs or yogurt, some veggies in there or some fruits. I also have my green tea and my fish oil and a high quality multivitamin mineral as well to boost nutrient intake. And then you've got snacking, can be cheese and crackers with fruit, and then for lunch there's salad with your choice of protein there, maybe a piece of fruit, another green tea. There's so many different options, but we're keeping to those strategies. Just to make sure that we're on track for the results we want. Snack 2, another fruit and yogurt. A Greek yogurt is recommended. LSA with that, I love that. Linseed, sunflower, almond. Dinner with some a beef stew with mashed garlic cauliflower. It's a great alternative to mashed potato. And this is a lower carbohydrate day, folks. This is a non-exercise day, so we don't need extra carbs. And then in the evening meal, maybe a shake or finishing up with a little bit of yogurt and LSA again. So there you go. There's an example. I thank you for tuning in for this webinar today. If you want to find out more, go to my website, drnick.co.nz. Download my free ebooks, Are You Ready to Master Your Nutrition and Should You Supplement, and my nutrition program guide. You can follow me on Facebook, and if you want to know more, even just email me directly. And until next time, go well and eat well.